Alrighty, welcome to the first redesign that we will be doing. Um, this is the first one, so we're just gonna kind of make it up as we go. The goal here is to find an older house that is desperately in need of a remodel. I'm gonna focus primarily on kitchens and bathrooms on this channel because that's the most dramatic change that you can make most of the time. So for now, we're just gonna be finding homes on Zillow. I've already taken the liberty of finding this older home built in 1962, just over 1,000 square feet, 3 beds, 1 bath, and it is definitely in need of some uh, assistance. More so than just the kitchen, but that's all we're going to be focusing on today. As you can see, the floors need a good refinish. Everything needs fresh coat of paint at the very least. Some exterior shots. But anyway, our main focus today is the kitchen for this remodel. I don't want to compromise any existing spaces. See what we can do. It looks like there's a back patio. Could benefit from a slider. We'll see. First and foremost, I'm using Chief Architect Premier X17. We're not worried about the rest of the house. We're just focusing on the kitchen and living room. That is directly adjacent. Just getting in my walls. So here we have the kitchen. Let's place a couple windows for reference. We have our front door, front window. We have our garage door. And we're going to put this hallway in. More so for dimensions. We know the hallway, we can guess based on pictures how big things are. So let's pull those reference images up. So if I had to guess, I'd say this room is 12 feet across, maybe. So we got a 36-inch front door with a couple inches on the right side. Looks like based on the 3-gang switch box there, that's about 24 inches between the door and the window. And I'd guess it's hard to say. Could be a 6-foot window, could be a 7-foot window. We're not trying to be perfect here. Of course, if we had perfect dimensions, that would be ideal. But we're just, since this is a on-the-fly design, make some assumptions. Let's get this door over here in the corner. Get the swing right. This 6-foot window. It's pretty dang close. I'm dragging our half wall. If I had to guess, it's 48 inches based on the tree, something like that. And I'm assuming that this door lines up with the hallway. Okay, so we got our living room. We'll put our fireplace in there eventually. And now this kitchen area. Well, let's go look at our pictures. You can usually tell by the cabinet sizes roughly how big a space is, if they're standard cabinet sizes. This one might be a little bit different since it is older. If we're just guessing, 1818, 36, I'm going to guess that's a 24. There's 5 feet, 60, and that's roughly half the room. So yeah, 10 feet. We're just going to go with 10 feet. Let's get a camera. See what we're working with so far. We'll pull up our reference images. Okay, so that garage door is technically in the kitchen, dining room area. Easy fix. What swing was that? And swing towards the living room. All right. Looking good. That does seem a little bit smaller than, again, we're not being perfect. Something like that. I think the last thing is windows, and we can get to designing. Cool. Okay. 6 feet. And we'll use the right window type. See, we're just making things up. So it's 7'2". We'll just call it. All right. Wow. So based on the plug, the fridge goes right there at the end. Where's the range? Okay, so we got some real funkiness going on. Looks like the range goes right there in front of that cabinet. And the fridge goes here. So that severely limits your working area. With the range right there, you really only got that much counter space there and that much usable counter space right there on top of the dishwasher. So I imagine this kitchen wasn't very fun to cook in unless they had a rolling around island sort of deal. Either way, it's going to be better no matter what. Okay, yeah, there's the fan. All right. Since we would be technically doing a sort of as-built, if this was a real client, which I'm somewhat treating it as a realism, somebody just bought this property, they can afford to put some money into the place and they're not trying to break the bank, but they do need a new kitchen right away. Anyway, if these were my clients and they just showed up, this is what I would be doing. Creating a very basic as-built, just for reference, so that when I go to do my redesign, I have just something to reference and my plumbing is in the right spot-ish, and all my appliances. This window is definitely not 48 high. It's probably 30 high. Because we got the backsplash. So there's our sink. There's our dishwasher. I think there's one little 12 or 9 inch on the end for the fridge. Then we have our uppers, which is straight all the way across with one little there. And again, we're just basic for the as-built. We're not going fancy or anything. That sink symbol is much too big. I'm just going to throw in a basic symbol to represent the sink. Okay. Okay. And then theoretically, we would have our range right here and right there. So, non-functional. Interesting. Of course, this was functional at the time and it fit the space. I'm sure it served many great meals over the years. And there's nothing inherently wrong with it. It's just, it could be better, significantly better. That's what we're going to do. So one more thing, this is a standard camera. It's what I do most of my editing in. I just want to show you guys really quick. power of the DLSS real-time denoising. So that does all the ray tracing without denoising. So you're not waiting for it to calculate all the light bounces. It just does it magically with NVIDIA's tools. I know my hinges are all messed up. I know that's not actually the color of any of this. This is just for our as-built. We really only reference this like this in 2D. All right, so I have my very, very basic as-built done. If this was were an actual client, I would spend more time on dialing in everything, making sure my dimensions were exact after my on-site visit. This is just a copy of the one we just made, except for now we can make changes. So let's get rid of all of that. And let's think about how we want to use this space. So current existing range was right here. I'd like to see if we can get it centered. Think about kitchens that are 10 feet wide. You can really only have cabinets on one side. This is actually a pretty common layout for a small rambler home. You have the front door, you walk right into the living room, there's a door directly to the garage, there's no mudroom or laundry room. This was very popular in my area at least, in the mid 80s, early 90s. So I've actually designed around this a few times. And what we do most of the time, I'll take you back to plan view. So we have this wall. So what I've done in the past, we'll get rid of this half wall. And then we'll take this all the way back and leave enough return so that we can hide cabinetry on the other side of here. Plus it's a nice place for switches since this is compromised by a door. Just throw it in there. Just gonna do that. Anyway, so we have enough room for our cabinetry. I'm just going to throw in a base right there. And we really need just enough for the countertop return. And just so you know, I am using a 3D connection space mouse to move around. Before this, I used a Xbox controller, which works fantastic for navigating scenes. Not so much for single-handed movement, obviously, but it is nice for getting the exact view you want without the keyboard and mouse controls. All right, so back to the design. We have a nice open space now, and I am going to throw in a fireplace just for reference. Maybe they upgrade the fireplace. We'll just use a pre-built one for now. So a nice open space with a fireplace. Again, very basic preliminary space planning stage. And you know what? I'm gonna make the executive decision to throw in a sliding door so you have access to your patio. I know this does make it a traffic area, depending on how much you're using that space. That's a nice access to the backyard. Plus, if you have kids, there you go, easy access. They don't have to go through the garage, through the man door, or out the front door and around that. But let's get our kitchen going. I'm going to place some cabinets. And again, another executive decision. I'm going to make this window nice and big. This is going to be at countertop height. So the sink is just going to flow right into the window. And we want a functional Lazy Susan. I don't think they had one. Existing plans? Yeah, it's a blind corner. Sink is right next to it. So again, the nice part about making it up as we go, we're going to move this window over, keep our Lazy Susan, do a nice big 36-inch sink base. And it's okay to have it offset from the window because we have our dishwasher. We're going to put the trash pull out in the island, right across from the sink, so you can scrape dishes and then immediately load them into the dishwasher. So we have our 18-inch trash pull out. And let's do a couple storage cabinets. We're going to do 12-inch on the back for extra storage, just like that. Now these are going to be full height doors on these back ones. 12-inch front overhang. So there's our island. And we have our trash pull out. Let's see what we got so far. Okay, storage, room for stools. If you want to entertain. I don't think I'd do another overhang on this side because that's interfering too much with the walkway and potentially a table. We still need room for the fridge right here. And I'm going to drag this up to match the header on the slider. All right, let's place our fridge. So I do have all of the manufacturer catalogs available for appliances. I'll be using a GE convection gas. Sure, why not? We'll place that right there for now. I have a feeling in fact, why don't we just center this right now? So in Chief, you can use Control G. Looks like we have room for a 9-inch spice pull out to the right. That'd be nice. Let's see. What do we have? 9 inches, perfect. Let's duplicate that to the other side. I have copy and paste in place set up to B, and then reflect about is already set to R. So I just hit B and R, and that's how I quickly duplicate things and reflect them. All right, and how much space do we have left over here? 10 inches. We do need enough filler. Let's do a 2-inch filler. So that leaves us with 10 inches still, because that's dimensioning to the countertop. So we could do a 34 custom. Let's see. Yeah, that's a 34 custom. Not ideal, but for symmetry, we're just going to make it work. You can do a bigger filler, I guess. There we go. Now it's a 33. Standard size. You can get that off the shelf at Home Depot. I'm not recommending that in any way, but if you needed a cabinet, you could get a 33 easily. And that's looking decent. Let's make these full height drawer pullouts for spices and utensils. Let's throw in a sink placeholder, and we are going to make this full height doors as well. There we go. Okay. And I would like to wrap this refrigerator. Pull this out. B and R to reflect about, and then we'll put a wall cabinet right there. Turn our wall cabinet layer back on. B and R, and then this out. There we are. Much better. Now, let's get the rest of our upper cabinets in. That obviously isn't going to work, and I don't like having a cabinet that close to a window. So we'll take our upper, let's see, 45. We'll split that. Hmm. We can do some of that. How's that looking? Better, I think. For space, a micro hood. I would hate to take up the counter space or throw it in a drawer across from the refrigerator. That doesn't seem like it'd be a great spot. And even then, I need to pull this island out because of our clearances. I'm just going to select the whole island, just drag it. That's better. I'd like to keep the countertop inside this if possible, just so that if people are sitting here, and people are trying to get past, it's not a choke point. So the uppers, let's see what we can do. I wonder if we can just copy and paste these. Yep. Okay. Let's get our range hood, our macro hood in. Our macro hood right there. Get our burn. Just like that. A little bit more. It's nice to have that extra space, and having the microwave too low is a bad choice. All right. I'm not loving this automatic dishwasher tool in X17. It leaves a lot of blank space. It doesn't really work as good as the old solution, but we'll leave it for now. I'd say that's a much more functional kitchen than what was existing. Yeah. Get access to outside, which is great. Much more natural light from the window, and island. Plus 2 access ways to the kitchen, really. You're not stuck going in just one direction. All right, well, let's make it pretty. Add some backsplash and pick out our door style and cabinet finish. So I'm just using the custom backsplash tool. Click the wall. Gives me backsplash across the whole thing. Same over here, except for we will drag this down. All right. Looking pretty good. And I would have this countertop continue into the windowsill. That's an easy fix. I'm just gonna select this, generate a custom countertop. So now the countertop over the kitchen sink and the dishwasher is editable. Just gonna drag that to the center there. Let's see what, very nice. And given the age of the house, I think I'd like to do something a little mid-century. I know it's easy, but I think it would really add to the style of the house and kind of accentuate the already existing character of the house. You know, it's got good bones, if you will. Of course, this flooring would need to be ripped up, and I'm not sure how savable the existing hardwood flooring is, but you know, that's a nice fireplace. You could put a gas insert in there. New windows. The house needs a lot, but it could be very cute. Okay, let's get some tile in here. I'll show you my library browser. All right, so in my user catalog, let's see what I have in mosaics. Pinwheel, diamond, chevron, herringbone. I am a fan of this herringbone. I'm not sure if it's going to fit exactly with the style. I guess we can always come back to the backsplash. Ooh, some nice neutral scales. As far as cabinetry goes, I'm going to use the Cezanne door. We'll just swap these doors out and some drawers. Swapped out the doors as well. That makes it easy. All right. I'm not sure about the functionality of these doors. But let's get these painted up. When I say painted, I mean stained. I don't know. That might be too dark. Let's try an alder. Yeah. We'll do peppercorn. That's still dark, but I really like it. I think we can work with that. All right, let's get our countertop figured out. And I'm going to use the Architectural Surfaces Pentel catalog. Use a Pentel Cascade White. Just a little bit of detail, no major veining or anything. And you know what? We're just going to do the backsplash too. That keeps it simple. Nice clean look. The white will be incredibly hard to keep clean, but that's not my problem. Let's see. Let's get these uppers just a little bit higher. Do 39 uppers. Get a little bit more space. All right, we're looking good. Let's see. Let's change the orientation of the floor. Realistically, it would not go front to back like that, and go lengthwise. Yeah, looking pretty good. Mess around with the finishes while we're here. See if a champagne bronze. That looks pretty sharp. We're cooking. Let's get these finishes same. Looking good. Could get some. Let's get a dining table. Okay, that's tight. You could get away with a smaller one for sure. Maybe a circle table. Yeah, something like that. That's better. Throw a couple chairs in. Chairs are always easiest to place in plan view for whatever reason. Just going to put 3 chairs. A little bit of clashing wood tones. In fact, why don't we just paint that the same? There we go. We got a nice pop of color in the seat cushions. And let's finish up our lighting. We can get a couple pendants over the island. I'll just use let's see, a basic glass pendant. That's better. Go a few more. Let's get a small chandelier over the kitchen table. Something like that. Very good. Alrighty, folks. Like I said, if you have a kitchen or a bathroom that you would like some help designing, just let me know. I'd be happy to help. Or if somebody you know needs some help with space, I'd be happy to help. Um, yeah, I'm just trying to help people realize how accessible this can be and help people with their spaces. I get a lot of satisfaction transforming a space that doesn't work well into something that does. And I think this would really, well, let's just pull up the original. Yeah, a little different, a lot more usable space for sure, a lot more storage, um, and yeah, a lot more functionality. Uh, I hope you enjoyed, and I look forward to the next one.